As you know, I talk a lot about people's journeys, and I love to have people on my show who have a story to tell, a story about overcoming. Well, today I have a very special guest, Lisa Sasevich, who happens to be one of my mentors. So she's very special to me, and I love her story. So welcome, Lisa.
I'm so honored to be here. And I am so proud of you for this
Ah,
vulnerable, powerful, courageous gift to the world, your new book. So proud of
oh,
you.
Lisa.
So
So I
amazing.
appreciate that so much. I want to tell people a little bit about you. You were so helpful to me. So Lisa Sasevich is she's masterful at helping people just in all walks of life, and she's here to share what she calls her meant for more formula, so that you can use the tools that she discovered to discover your own unique value. And that's really what I remember working with you on, and I love that. You can make the difference that you know you are here to make. And so I know when your book first came out, I looked at it and I love it. I mean, I love everything you do. I stayed in your mastermind group for a reason. I went to one of your events and then just thought I need to work with this woman individually. Marketing and sales, not my thing. Blood and guts, that's my thing. So when I worked with Lisa, it just was so transformative. It was just so easy. But I want to tell people a little bit about your past. So you went from being fired from your dream job the night before Christmas Eve to building a home-based business that generated over $40 million in sales, all with two young children at home. That's amazing. And so you became known as the queen of sales conversion without being pushy or salesy. And so I remember your course, The Invisible Close, and I loved it. So Lisa is an author, an entrepreneur, a business mentor, and a mom. So I am so happy to have you here today.
Fellow mom, fellow powerful woman, fellow human that walks the earth with masculine and feminine, celebrating both. I just adore you. You are just a special human being. And I think everyone here is tuning in because we know that you bring a strength. And your book is so well named, Relentless Courage. It just every chapter of your life, including the current one, you continue to model that for us. So I'm grateful to be here to support everybody here in your own Meant for More journey. And just thank you for the work that you and Daniel are doing. It's
Well,
so
I love
profound.
that. And it's you can have a message, but if you don't know how to tap into it, or you don't know how to get the message out to the world,
Yeah.
That makes it challenging. And you taught me something that I love, because I'm a nurse. And so I had a hard time selling stuff. I'm like, ew, I don't want to do that. And at one time I was okay at it. I worked for a device company and it was just different because these were things doctors needed and I didn't really have to sell it. But when it came to selling something, I couldn't really bring myself to sell until you said something. You said you have a unique story, you have a unique service, and you're doing a disservice to other people if you don't share it. And I was like, oh, wow, what a reframe. That was an incredible reframe.
Yeah, it's we like to say it's a disservice not to make your offer. But
Right.
of course, you can't make your offer to the world, your offer to make a difference if you don't know what it is.
Right.
Right. So we have to back up a little bit to even be able to get to that point.
Well, I love that. And so I can tell you all day long about Lisa and her programs and The Invisible Close, and it's amazing. But what I really want to talk about today is your book, Meant for More.
Okay.
I'm really happy. I loved that book when I saw it. So tell
Mm.
me why did you write Meant for More?
Thank you for your love of the book. In fact, here, this is what it looks like, everyone. The baby. We each have our babies we're birthing right now. It's Hay House Publishing. Gave me the honor to publish the book in partnership with me. And, that was an honor because so many of my early heroes, Louise Hay, Wayne Dyer, Marianne Williamson, the things that I learned growing up, as a young woman into a mature woman, sort of mature, semi-mature, just came from different publishers through Hay House. Came through different authors that were published through Hay House. So it was super, super duper honor to join their ranks of their authors. And the book, Meant for More, the title, the tagline is the proven formula to turn your knowledge into profits.
Mm.
And, it came up I was about already a decade into the company that I have, The Invisible Clothes, which teaches mission-driven, heart-centered entrepreneurs. Just as Tana was saying, she was a nurse, not a salesperson, but it teaches you the structures for how to sell, how to make an offer that's irresistible so that you don't feel pushy or salesy. There's just so many people I've come across. We have clients now in 134 countries. Actually, since the time of what you just read in my bio, we've actually done over $50 million in sales,
Wow.
all from home, all with my little kids in tow. They were 2 and 5 when I started. They're 14 and 17 as of last week. Two high schoolers now, homeschooling. It's very exciting. And as I think about, as I looked out into all of the people in my audience's eyes, whether I was looking on Zoom or in our live events and workshops we've had over the last decade, I would say the one thing I could just see that united us all is that we have a feeling, and you most likely have this feeling too, if you're here with Tana, you have a feeling that won't go away. A feeling, it's a knowing, and the best words I could find for it is that we are meant for more. That our life experiences, that the things that we've had to display relentless courage through, are adding up to something that really, with the right structure, could become a gift that we bring to the world. It's like each one of us goes through the school of hard knocks in our own ways so that other people don't have to. But that's only if we're willing to do the work to see what are the lessons I took from that, and how can I create a legacy with that? How can I pass those lessons on? So that's really what Meant for More is. It's after all these decades of helping people to turn their knowledge into profit. We put the formula into a book. It's an easy 5 steps to follow to say, these are the steps I would take if I want to take what I know and make a difference with it and make money with it. And it turned out that, when we went into quarantine and people were losing their jobs, and, we're in a she-cession right now, right?
Right.
It's like, I think I saw a statistic the other day on the news. It was 837,000 women have left the workforce, almost 1 million women since we've gone, into quarantine, for various reasons, right? That is an amazing statistic. And I just felt like the timing could not have been better to say, hey, ladies and gentlemen, there's things that there's things that you've learned in formal school, in the school of hard knocks, in spiritual school, that if you could take a little inventory, take some time to take a little inventory, you can make a difference. You have a unique value, a unique gift that is needed. And I would say right now more than ever, regardless of the category.
I love that. And I was drawn to you partially because I made that same decision before quarantine to work from home because I wanted to be home with my daughter. So I'm like, I left the hospital, but I can't not work. It's just not in my DNA.
I'm with you, sister.
And I feel purposeful. I feel happy when I'm helping other people and doing something creative. So I started writing. And I had these great books, but I didn't know what to do with them. So I remember joining your mastermind. But what I really loved was when you joined a mastermind, there were other people there who also were a part of this mastermind group. And we were all learning so much and just sharing. So magic happens. Like magic happens when you do that. And it really Meant for More just makes sense. I mean, it just makes sense. So all of us had such diverse backgrounds. I mean, I was the only nurse in the group. We're coming from completely different backgrounds. And yet, when we came together, we could share and build. And I think when women come together and they do that, some kind of magic happens. And so if we could stop being competitive and we could start working together, especially during this time when we really need each other, it's powerful. So I did that.
We recently, and I know some of you are with us live and some of you might be, watching this later. So this one's a little time sensitive, but recently we put up the Meant for More 30-day challenge to just walk. It actually started this week. You guys can go to lisasasevich.com and join us. It's free just to walk people through, how do you discover your unique value? Patricia's saying, hey, I can't afford to drop out of the workplace, right? And we've got people chiming in here. I've got 3 kids at home and I'm working full time.
Yep.
So, maybe that stopping working may not be an option, but what if there is a space being provided right now in the middle of the insanity to take inventory, you
Right.
know, and that's really what I'm interested in helping people do, is to say, you know, where's the pony?
Right.
Where's the pony in here? And what if, you know, you look back on this time where there's, you know, a lot of epic things happening and say, wow, you know, I used this time to discover a gift that I have to the world and the steps to be able to bring it forward. And it, you know,
Right.
it changed my personal and my work life, my parenting, my romantic life. I mean, it really, your personal gift, your unique value impacts everything.
I couldn't agree with you.
Yeah.
And I think once I started to really hone in on that, first of all, what is your unique value? Like
Right.
sometimes we know like that we're good at something, but we don't really know
Yeah.
what our gift to the world is, right? And so you
Right.
actually have an actual formula that you use
Yes.
to figure out specifically what is it about you that the world finds amazing? And then how
Yeah.
do you then take it and package it and like help people and transform? And by the way, purposeful people live 11 years longer. So it's
Really?
what it shows. If you're purposeful and you're doing something that you love, you're going to live.
Yep.
So
I love it.
what was the journey from deciding not to live a woulda, coulda, shoulda life to actually being more and living more and doing more?
Well, you know, I appreciate you bringing up the woulda, coulda, shoulda life. You know, only someone who's read the book would know about that. It's personal to me, and really, I'd love to tie that into, you know, really the topic of this show, relentless courage, because you don't know you're having it. I didn't know I was being relentlessly courageous while I was doing this, but looking back, I feel like, you know, I'm going to raise my hand and say, yeah, that was freaking courageous. Um, you know, my mom died when I was 19 years old. We lived in Los Angeles in the San Fernando Valley. I was here in San Diego, where I live now, going to San Diego State. And I got the call, you know, in my senior year that she had been diagnosed with lung cancer.
Mm.
And it was a very, very fast progression from diagnosis to that call to come home, because, you know, this could be the end.
Mm.
And I'm the oldest daughter. My brother's 3 years younger. And I can remember, you know, every second of the drive home to, you know, the San Fernando Valley, Canoga Park area, for those of you who are local. And, you know, taking my mom out of the hospital because there was really nothing more could happen for her there, so that she could die in peace at home.
Mm.
And I brought her home. You know, I remember my aunt, bless my aunt, you know, having the courage to tell me that I needed to tell my mom that she did her job, that I was graduating college, you know, first woman to graduate college in our whole legacy. And, you know, that it was all right to let go. It was all right to die. And that took a lot of courage. But I could see, you know, that really was like what needed to happen for
Wow.
her and for all of us, really. I mean, in hindsight, like she needed to have that. She needed to fly, let's say. So I took her, you know, to her. We went in her bedroom. I can remember my head on her chest. I can remember, you know, the breath where my head went up and down with each breath on her chest. And it's so interesting how God puts angels in your life. You don't even know, you know, who they are. You know, you could be looking at one or two of them right now. We don't know, right? You just never know. I know I'm looking at one of mine right now, and I look at Tana. It's a beautiful angel for me. And interestingly, I had a boyfriend that was an ENT studying to be a fireman, and he had told me before, you know, I brought my mom home, exactly what happens at the end of life. That there's this spacing between breaths.
Yeah.
And I mean, what is the odds that someone would deliver that message to me? Just, you know, that I would have that person in my life, so that I was completely present and I knew when she was taking, you know, that last breath of space, and then longer space, and then no next breath.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like it was such a gift, you know, talk about the angels come in many forms. It's actually one of the chapters in Meant for More, that I was able to be present. I knew what was happening. I could love on her, and I could be there, and it wasn't an emergency, and it was beautiful. And there was time spent with each family member. And so after that, after the last breath, which I, you know, always remember like yesterday, then the blur, you know, family members coming, people coming to take care of me, to take, you know, care of everything that needed to happen, and my younger brother. And then there was like, within days, there was a memorial in our backyard. We had this modest little backyard, little patch of grass, and all these people, family members, friends from where she worked, colleagues, were gathering in the backyard. And I just remember feeling like completely lost, just kind of going from group to group. They didn't know what to say to me and my brother. They didn't know, people, they're bringing lasagna, you know what I mean? Like nobody really knows. There is no right thing to say. And, but I remember like going from group to group and hearing what they were saying. They were talking about my mom. Her name was Ina. And they were saying, oh, Ina, she was so full of life. She was such a giver, so vibrant. If only she would have. And then they'd talk about all their visions for her, and I'd go to the next circle and they'd be going, oh, do you remember when Ina did this when she went out on her own and, tried to create something out aside from her job? And if only she could have. And then they would talk about that. And then, I'd pop into another group and they'd say, she really should have. And usually it was all about stepping more into that magnificent, wonderful, unique vibrance that she had. And the thing that I kept reverberating for me from that day forward, as I moved from 19 into my 20s, was that woulda, coulda, shoulda that you just brought up. So it's, when you say it just like brings it all there. Woulda, coulda, shoulda, woulda, coulda, shoulda. And it's like, in honor of my mom, I am not going to live a woulda, coulda, shoulda life. Like when my moment comes, whether it's next year, I was thinking to myself, or many years from now, I just want to know that I went for it, that I didn't overthink it, that I, didn't let myself talk myself out of inspirations, that I acted on them. And we talk about that more in Meant for More, acting on those inspirations as fast as you can, not letting time, talk you out of your best and most inspired ideas. In fact, I'll say when it comes to tying that into sales conversion, do they go together? An early mentor of mine said, money loves speed. And I found that to be so true. The faster I acted on my inspirations, the more of a difference I made and the more I was rewarded. So I'll pause for a minute. But, when you say woulda, coulda, shoulda, that is definitely right where I go.
That's really interesting because that had to be a very painful thing. But you did what we call at Amen Clinics, turning your pain into purpose. So in a sense, you took what was very painful and what, you wanted for your mom, and that was a painful thing to think about. But you turned that into purpose in your own life and made a better life for you and your kids. And not just for you and your kids, for so many people. I mean, you've been so helpful to so many women, and I can attest to this. You have a huge following, and I love that.
I see Allison saying, this is divine timing that I stumbled upon this talk. And, I do. I think that there is a lot of divinity of, there's so many things we could each be listening to, at any time that we could each, especially now, so much available to us. And so I always feel like whatever it is that I happen to be here, it's divine appointment, that I'm here giving my full attention now. And so are you. So,
and I'm going to show another one too, because this is really, someone wants to know practical tips. Basically, they want to know what can we do?
Great. And let's see who's
do at home.
I love it. I think it says Arisa. I can't read it there, but anyway, yes. Let's get on into it. I love it. So not living a woulda, coulda, shoulda life, we transition that into, as the question that Tana asked me earlier, how did you go from that decision into discovering your unique value? And so, and by the way, I want to give you guys some tips. And it just happens that at this time, we are walking through these tips and coaching people every day for the next 30 days in the Meant for More challenge. So if you're here live and you want to jump into that, just go to lisasasevich.com. It's my gift to you. You don't even have to buy my book. It's just, we're taking the exercises from Meant for More. You'll love it if you do, because it has all the stories that go along with the work we're doing. But the key, the first step.
I just want to say, in the test, you will get so much out of it. You just will. I mean, her program is so practical. So I've gone to some of these programs and it's like, oh, this is really good information. And there's just no freaking way I can actually apply this. It's just too much, too complicated. Lisa's program is doable. And so that's what I really love about it. You can implement it.
I love it. Here's divine appointment with Yvette and with Robin. Hey, ladies, we're here for each other, right? Good timing. So, anyway, one of the things we're doing in the Meant for More challenge, and to answer the question, one of the first steps in really being able to turn your knowledge into profits. Well, this is the second step. I'll come back to the first one. But the second step is what we're talking about, which is discovering your unique value. And I want to pull some things right from the exercises that we're doing in the challenge and that are in the Meant for More book on, how can you start today, right now, with just paying attention to what is your unique value? What is the sometimes I call it your $1 million value, or I like to call it your thing. A lot of my clients say, I want to make money with my thing. So, what's your thing? What's your $1 million value, your unique value? And I want to share with you some of the exercises that you can do to start to notice what it is, because you'll find that there's some of you that have been on the path forever to find your purpose. And it just feels like it's just beyond your fingertips. You can't get there. What's my purpose? God, please tell me what's my purpose. And sometimes if you haven't been able to get there, I say through the front door, asking directly, what's my purpose? Maybe pause on that for a minute. And let's go through the side door, which we call your unique value. And many times when you find your unique value and how your story adds up to it, then all of a sudden you look up and you're standing right in front of your purpose. So if you've been knocking at the purpose door a long time and you need a new path, this can end up, landing you right in the same place. So here, I'm going to take these right out of the Meant for More book. Right here, there's a whole section on discover your unique value. And I want to share a couple things you can start doing right now so you get an example. So number one, start to notice in your life, just keep a journal or note on your iPhone or your smartphone. What are the things in life that are easy for you, but hard for others? Mm-hmm. Right? Like Tana can take you down with like 2 steps as a black belt, double, triple black belt. Easy for her, not so easy for me. She just has this badassery that is so easy for her that I think a lot of us have to really strive for. But it's just like, it is part of her Meant for More gift, which is no accident, the subject of your book and how that all came together. It all adds. One of my co-authors, a friend of mine, an early client, Robert Allen, who wrote many books back in the day about investing, right? No money down and things. And he calls it, we were doing an interview and he said, you know what I call that, Lisa? I call it your piece of cake. What's your piece of cake? I loved that. And so for me, for example, when I looked back at all the companies that I had helped to make millions of dollars when I was an employee for those companies, Pfizer, Hewlett Packard, many personal development companies. When I look back, the thing that always was easy for me and baffled other people was making my offer. The sales part where you actually ask, hey, would you like to step into this? Would you like to get started? Would you like to make this investment? Would you like to coach with me? Would you like to, write our prescription? I was on the Viagra launch team. Not everybody could just ask for the order for that one.
Right.
Me, I just always felt like it was the most important part. It's where the transformation happens, is when you ask and people get the chance to say yes or no. So easy for me, but here's why my business has done so well. We teach the irresistible offer because it's that part, the sales part, that's so hard for most others. But it took me some process to find it. I'm going to share a little bit more about that process with you. And the thing I want to say about why do you want to pay attention to what's easy for you and hard for others is this. And you may have to write this down so you can read it to yourself a few times. You can get paid the most for the things that come the easiest to you. Mm-hmm. And that is very counterintuitive, right, Tana?
Yep.
That you could be paid the most for the things that come the most easy to you.
Yeah, no, science and nutrition. I'm like, there's so many people out doing it. Why would that even make sense? But it ended up being my whole platform. So.
You look and you see it straight out. Mm-hmm. For me, ever since I was like selling Girl Scout cookies, everybody wanted me on their team. They could see it, right? I mean, you would want, or be in my troop, or anyone who had a multi-level of any kind. Come sell candles or gold coins here, or, these vitamins. Like, you want me in your downline, right? Like, before I even knew it was my unique value, the rest of the world could. So. Right. That's number one, is just, we're in a process here. That's why we do the Meant for More challenge over 30 days, because, you know, you got to start paying attention to things and then it starts to unfold. The second way, and these have a little overlap, but notice the places that you meddle, like you intervene even without being asked. It's like you see something going down and you can't not Badinsky,
Can't help it.
right? Like, it's so hard for me. People are not asking for my coaching. And now I've learned, right? It took me to get into my 50s to learn this. But finally, I've learned, you know, if they're not paying me for it, probably, you know, like, or they haven't like signed up for it, you know, it's better not to just give the unsolicited coaching, right? But I see, what were you saying, Janet?
You can't be more invested than someone else's in their own growth and their own success.
Exactly. And it takes, you know, I learned this the hard way during my first marriage. You know, I had a practice marriage in my 20s. You know, one of my clients said, it's your pancake marriage. I said, what's a pancake marriage? She said, well, you always tell us the first pancake. Right? I was like, oh my God, okay. It's true in my case. So but he used to call me Mrs. Betterway. That was like our term of endearment, Mrs. Betterway, because, you know, no matter what he did, guess what, ladies? I had a better way. Any other Mrs. Betterways around here? Huh? Yep. Give me some love.
Maybe just calls it, but yes.
But this could be valuable in your gift to the world, in your legacy, right? So it may not work so well as unsolicited coaching in your marriage, but when you've got a gift and people want to know, like they keep asking you, and this isn't step 3, this is the third part. Can I pick your brain? Right? You want to pay attention to where do people ask you, can I pick your brain? Because if they're asking you again, it's like they're seeing something that you may not realize, you may not have honed in on yet. So back to Mrs. Betterway. Oh, there's a Mrs. Betterway. Thank you, Bella. I hate to be the only one. She's crying. She's laughing so loud. She's crying in her emoji. So back to Mrs. Betterway. It's like you can't not. It's how you give. It's how you love. I see people giving away the store, not charging enough, not owning it, not claiming the throne of their gift. And I can't not say something. So that's why I do my courses and my challenge, because I would like implode if I couldn't share it with somebody. But, you know, you got to with the people who want it. And that's what makes a beautiful entrepreneurial business. Mm-hmm. And the pick your brain part, you know, here's the problem. So number one, start paying attention. Where do people want to pick your brain? Where do you meddle? Where is it you can't not give, even when you're not asked? All these things, right? Where is it easy for you, hard for others? And in Meant for More, in the book, and throughout the challenge, if you choose to join us, we'll have some live coaching calls. So we can actually talk to each other. You know, we do all these group calls. We're going to pull this apart, you know, and you're going to see that there's something. And I want you guys to do this with me so that I'm not the only one, okay? If you're here live, I want you to put your finger on the tip of your nose. Come on, Tana. All right, you're doing it. So try to see the tip of your nose or the tip of your finger. You can't, right? And we've all heard that saying. It's at the tip of my nose, the tip of your nose, so you can't see it. That's your unique value. It's so close to you. It's right here. So you have to be able, the exercises and working in, you know, like Tana said, the mastermind, being in the group calls, having the coaching, saying it out loud, looking at these things, it's exactly how you start to see it. And it changes everything. It changes everything. So those are some tips to get you guys started, discovering your unique value. And there's a lot more in the book. There's a lot more in the challenge. So however you like to learn, we're here for you.
I was totally obsessed with your, I actually purchased your course before I went to your live event, and I was just obsessed with it because it was so practical. So I am actually advocating for you to, I mean, take her free course. It's worth it. And you'll meet some of the coolest people. I mean, just some of the coolest people that you'll stay connected to. I'm still connected to the people from what, 5 years ago, 6 years ago?
I hear people on our campus still are telling me, you know, oh, I just did this thing with Tana, and I'm you know, helping her love her book, and the buzz is all around.
Yeah, and then that's where magic happens. So, Lisa, I want them to be able to remind me before we end, where do they go to sign up for the course?
Yeah, a couple of two different invitations, kind of depending on when you're listening. So at any time, and we're in a live challenge right now that's just starting this week, you can go to lisasasevich.com. It's right there on the screen, how to spell it. Sasevich. There's no T. And you can sign up right there. You'll see at the top, it'll say join the challenge. So I would definitely recommend doing that. And we lead that through Facebook, through live calls. We send you email assignments. So however you like to learn, you'll be able to find happiness in the challenge. And then this probably would only pertain mostly to those of you here live. So if you're listening later, pardon me. But since Tana keeps mentioning how her life changed at one of our live events, you know, in live event days when we all could get together live, you had to fly somewhere, you know, and there'd be hundreds of people, and we would lead event and we would learn, you know, how to sell without being salesy, how to make our irresistible offer. And over the last 10 years, I would run ran 20 of those and always sold out. What I'm doing right now, and this is coming up December 1st through 3rd, so note the dates, is we're going to run an event that you've been to, Tana, called Monetize Your Mission Online. Mm-hmm. So for those of you that want to get your work online, just go to monetizeyourmission.com. And we're doing it as a fundraiser. We're actually donating 100% of the tuition to Meals on Wheels.
Oh, I love that.
They are serving 56% more people right now meals, and 70% of the people they're serving are women, mostly elderly, that are really, really in need. They're you know, in quarantine, and they're needing the meals, and they're needing the care. So this $3,000 event that you used to have to fly to, you can now join me on Zoom. The donation is $54. And then I'm gonna match your $54. So $108 is gonna go to Meals on Wheels. And you can see the times and get your ticket at monetizeyourmission.com. We're posting right now in the chat if you're happy to be on this platform with us. And that's December 1st through 3rd. And it's the same kind of event that Tana came to, where we teach you how do you, you know, take your work online, discover your unique value, and then package it, price it, and offer it in a way that you can help people like Tana's doing, help people all over the world.
I love
love to have you join us if that feels right.
Yeah, I mean, for you, that's just, you've got the biggest heart. So I strongly recommend you tap into Lisa's gifts, because she will help you find your gifts. And so go to lisasasevich.com. If you missed this, you want to replay it, you can also go to tanaamen.com. And don't miss next week. So next week we have another very exciting week for you. And we just want to keep you in our community. And you see why. We have such cool people on here. So I'm so grateful to you, Lisa. Thank you.
So such big love for you, for what you're doing, for your new book, and really for all these amazing people that you've attracted. Great to be with you all today. Thanks, Tana.
Thank you.